Okay, everybody, as you saw, I am at Green Acres Baptist Church, which is at the entrance of the Green Acres housing community, and actually where I reside as well. This place has significant meaning in my life. This was one of the first churches that we attended when we moved to Athens. My daughter and I, in this very church, accepted Christ as our Lord and Savior and was baptized in this very church. I haven't been a member here for several years now. I now attend Athens Church, where we started our video at the beginning when we started this. But I thought it was quite fitting that I end the video at this location. It was actually pretty difficult finding a good spot to film this. So if it doesn't look all clear or shadowed or bright stuff, I do apologize. I am outside. Unfortunately, because of COVID, as you very well know, we cannot go inside. So the second part of the last question is, what two things do I plan to do in my first year in office? We've already went over the overtime pay and the amount of money that's being spent in overtime. And now the second part, which will tie into the first part of the question, is what am I going to do? Recruit. Recruit, recruit, recruit. We've got to get these numbers up. So the first thing that I'm going to do is we're going to be creating a permanent recruitment team. That's one thing in the 9 years that I've been with the Sheriff's Office we have not had. I've actually been part of a recruitment team. At one point I did all the job fairs for the veterans, veteran job fairs within Athens and some of the surrounding areas. And before I left the Sheriff's Office to run, I was once again part of the recruitment team for a second time, going to various job fairs out there. And when we have a recruitment team, the numbers speak for itself. We actually do very well. We have members come aboard our team, and we're able to slow or reduce dramatically the amount of overtime that is being spent. Before I went back into the recruitment team, the shift I was responsible for, both shifts I was responsible for, those shifts were working on the average of 5 to 7 days per month. Now, with our schedule that we have, these guys only get 14 days off a month. Okay, so out of those 14 days off a month, working half of that was in overtime at the jail on a mandatory basis. We actually got it down to about 3 days. We work on a calendar system for some of the people that didn't know how we actually scheduled the overtime. I broke up my shift, and actually all the other shifts, all 4 other shifts, broke our shift down into teams, and the more teams that we was able to create, the less amount of overtime that we was able to schedule. And at one point we were almost down to 2 teams, which means these guys were working almost every other day. Thank God when we had the recruitment team come in, we started getting some more people into place, and we actually got it up to 4 teams, and we're just almost ready to create a 5th team, because we're increasing staffing, we're increasing the members on our shifts, and we was able to pretty much keep about 4 people on each team, resulting in 3 days a month in overtime. And then when I left and decided to run for sheriff, I'm finding out now that those teams are back up to 4 and 5 respectively, which means they're back up working 4, 5, sometimes 6 days a week in overtime. Those are the days that they were mandated to work. Now, the audit specified that they didn't really classify it as mandatory, because if a person found someone else to work for them, that was fine. We actually accepted that. We told the members of our shifts that if you can find someone to work for you, this is your scheduled day to work. If you find someone to work for you, that is okay. You can go home and enjoy your family. But if you did not find anybody to work for you, you are required to work that shift. So, to a degree, it was mandatory on schedule. However, if they were able to find someone, then we didn't hold them to it as far as the scheduling goes. The recruitment team, I want to start off with 3 recruiters. 3 people dedicated that dedicated and believe in the system, believe not so much the system but the agency, and wants to make the agency thrive. And so I want to start off with 3 people. I'm planning on attaching those people to the training department at the beginning, because the training department, there are already supervisors in place to monitor what's going on, and also all of our new officers that come aboard go through our jail training officer program with the training department also. So I think at the beginning the 2 should go very well hand in hand. As we increase staffing and allocate more positions, I would like to see our recruitment department increase so that we can keep our pipeline full. Are we going to be at 100% staffing? God only knows. But one thing that I couldn't see doing that I couldn't see, and I got really frustrated with the sheriff's office, is every time we got close to being staffed, even if at 95% staffing, they would stop recruitment or slow recruitment. And I'm like, you can't, because you don't know who's going to make it through training. You don't know who's going to get a better opportunity. You don't know who's up for next for retirement, promotions, transfers. The sheriff's office doesn't stop operating just because we're full staff operations. Things do happen. So recruitment's not going to stop. It's going to be a dedicated team. It's going to be a permanent team. And as we grow staff-wise, the recruitment department will be increasing as well. One of the things that I'm going to talk about is the number allocation that we're required to have in order to safely to fill every single post in all 3 divisions. And this is including our supervision, and this is also including our civilians. We're supposed to have a total number of 194 members. Okay. Now, I went through the audit, as I've previously discussed in the other questions and other locations I was at, and I had the numbers was appalling that what I was finding. The audit actually went back the same 5 years I discussed before on the budgets, and in fiscal year 2014. This is fiscal year 2014 through 2018. The total authorized positions was 183. In 2015, it increased to 191, and then 2016 to present date, it got increased to 174. Okay. Now, in fiscal year 2014, we peaked out at 164 staff members, and in 2015, we peaked out at 162 staff members. As you see already, we're already, high 20s, low 30s below staffing. What really got me going was in 2016, we peaked out with 173 staff members. However, we ended the fiscal year with 166 staff members. It's quite a significant difference. In fiscal year 2017, we peaked out with 174 staff members. We ended with 163 staff members. In fiscal year 2018, we peaked out with 175, and we ended with 173. That was actually probably one of our better years we had. That's when we actually had active recruitment going. We had people out there actively promoting our agency and bringing people aboard. And as you can see by the numbers, we hear by the numbers, it made a significant difference. There's only a 2-member difference. So on the average, we've been 30 people short on average for the last 5 years. And the appalling part is when I look at the projections, they're only projecting 161 people for both fiscal year 2019 and fiscal year 2020. As an administrator, why would you project less numbers than you're allocated? Why don't you project 194 people and work diligently in filling these empty spots instead of actually projecting 10 to 15 members less than what we normally produce? I don't know what the actual numbers are that were brought in during those 2 time frames. I will be getting those answers and getting them back to you, hopefully in the immediate future. Now in the audit, even the auditors realized that 194 total people was not enough. They actually, in their recommendations, they actually requested that we recommended that we had 218 people in our midst, in our staffing, basically 24 additional people, 13 member increase for the jail section, and 11 people, 11 members more in our field division. That encompasses both the courts and our road division. Now these increases do not count for supervision. Obviously, like for example, the recruitment department, as the department grows, I would like to bring a separate from the training department, which means I'd have to promote supervisors to run and supervise that section. I'm also, when I go 24 hours on the road, in the warrants and in civil section, and hopefully create a patrol division that go out and answer calls, we're going to need supervisors for them as well. Now, unfortunately, staffing like that does come with commission approval, but I believe that myself and my team that I put into place, and the members of the agency all collectively together build the staffing up, then I don't think we'll have an issue increasing our staffing numbers if we can show them that we're actually filling the empty spots that we're losing now. One of the things that really interested me was Sheriff Edwards had an interview with the Red and Black, and one of the quotes one of the things that he had said, and I'm going to read it right from the article, is the recruitment and retention rate at the sheriff's office has been a constant problem. Well, if you know that, Sheriff, then why wasn't it taken care of? If you knew that there was an issue, why didn't we keep recruitment going? Why did I have to leave and run for sheriff myself so that we could possibly get this thing done? You should have been here, and you should have had it taken care of, or you should have had your command staff get it taken care of. Okay, none of this should have stopped. Another thing that happens also when staffing is low and overtime is used, obviously morale is a huge issue, but burnout also happens. And another thing that I kind of got curious on, and I did a little bit more research onto it, and that was the inmate to officer altercations over the course of the last 5 years, or from fiscal year 2016 through fiscal year 2020. In 2016, we had 21 officers get an altercation with an inmate. Now, you're probably asking, what was the altercations about? I don't know those answers. I can very well find those answers out and get back with you guys on that. But as of right now, I just have the numbers. I don't really have a whole lot of answers. In 2017, we had 26 inmate and officer altercations. 2018, we had 21. And this is what really threw me through a loop is in fiscal year 2019 and fiscal year 2020, they projected that we're going to have 20 inmate versus officer altercations. I understand that we are in law enforcement. I understand we are first responders. I understand that we are responsible for the jail and things do happen, but to me, that's an awful high number to project. Even though they run with the numbers in the past with the previous years, why aren't we finding out ways to lower those numbers instead of projecting the same type of numbers? So over the course of the 5 years, to include the projections, there was over 100 inmate and officer altercations, actual numbers, and the last 2 years in projections. To me, that's way too much. One is way too much, and we gotta find a way to curb and lower those things. And one way to do that is to recruit and get our staffing numbers up. I've heard people in the past, to include the sheriff, say, well, this is a nationwide issue. All agencies nationwide are having issues with staffing. You know, you're probably right, but I don't care really what nationwide numbers say. All I know is Clark County Sheriff's Office is short. Clark County Sheriff's Office has been short ever since you've been in office. You had an audit in 2005 that said the exact same thing, and 13 years later, the issues are the same, and there's been no resolution to those issues. It should have been taken care of. Well, it's now time. We're going to turn we're going to turn ideas into actions, and we're going to get these issues fixed, and we're going to get these issues fixed quickly. There's with all of this, there's three things of safety that is paramount with staffing, with increased staffing and getting the numbers that we're supposed to have. And that's officer safety, in turn results in inmate safety, in turn results in community safety. Because if our warrants are not being served because our guys are working in the jail, our community is at risk. If our jail staff our posts are not being filled, there goes our inmate safety, because no one's watching them and taking care of them like we're supposed to be. And obviously with low staffing numbers results in officer safety also. So safety is paramount in all three of those sections, and I will not take that lightly when I take office. Staffing needs to be increased. I will go out of my way to make sure staffing is increased, and be there with the deputies through all of this. One of the things in the three different areas of our organization, we have 194 total staff members, and over 100 of those people work in the jail. So if more than 80% of your staff works in one location, which is the highest liability of the organization, why aren't you there supporting them? Well, I also pulled up his goals. In 2015, his goal was, and this is Sheriff Edwards, who we're talking about, in 2015, his goals was to spend at least 2 hours each week at the jail in order to be a more visible sheriff for the jail. Really? That's a goal? It shouldn't be a goal, Sheriff. It should have been a part of your everyday activities, or day by day or week by week or whatever. You should be there anyway. In 2016, spend at least 40% of my time out at the new jail to ensure the new jail is running smoothly. Once again, you should already be there in the first place. It shouldn't be a new goal. Not to mention his number one goal was to seek re-election as sheriff. Well, in 2020, we're going to make sure that doesn't happen. January 1st, 2021, there's going to be a new sheriff in town, and God willing, it's going to be myself. In 2017, spend at least 25% of my time at the jail to walk around, hear concerns, and be more visible. Well, hearing concerns and listening to concerns are two totally different things. You listen to them, you listen to us, you've even listened to me, well, heard me, but you never listened. And because you didn't listen to anybody is the reason why I left, and the reason why I am now running for sheriff. All you had to do was just listen to the people that you lead, and I would still be with the sheriff's office today. In 2018, spend at least 20% of my time at the jail to walk around, hear concerns, and be more visible. Oh wow, that's the exact same goal you had in 2017. Still, once again, no change. Okay, and in 2018 really got me. I wanted to laugh really hard. In your number one goal for 2019 was to spend 25% of my time getting to know all the team members and pull what some of their concerns and needs were. Going through your action steps, going through my calendar to block out time, realizing the importance of our team members. You've been in office for nearly 20 years, Mr. Edwards. You shouldn't have to block out time. Your time as sheriff is not that busy to put your team that you hired, that you swore in, on a back burner. Your team and your people should have come first, and when I'm elected as the new sheriff, they will be my top priority. Your resources needed was time, consistency, and commitment. There shouldn't be. You should be committed and should have been committed to your team from day one. Time frame, immediately. obviously, okay? And then the outcome of a more visible sheriff that the CCSO can see and know that he is concerned about them as a team member. Once again, that should have been going on since in the 9 years that I've been there. I rarely saw you. I can imagine how long it's been before I got there in 2009. Well, correction, in 2010. Okay, it should be a given. You're the CEO. I'm soon going to be the CEO of the Clark County Sheriff's Office. My team is going to be my number one and my only priority. We're going to get those numbers up. We're going to get the overtime numbers down. We're going to show this community that true leadership is needed, and we're going to turn our ideas into action. I don't know what else to say. All I know is we're going to be doing some more videos over the next few months. We're going to go over my 4 pillars of action. The recruitment part was actually part of the safety and security pillar. We're going to go more in depth to that as the days come. On Monday, I'm going to be doing a panel with the Athens Anti-Discrimination Movement. It's going to be myself, John Q. Williams, and Debbie Gonzalez. We're going to be talking about the criminal justice reform and answer various questions from there. I'm excited. At the same time, I'm kind of worried because being on the only Republican there, I'm hoping it doesn't turn into a shoot fest towards myself. But I don't back down from a challenge, so we'll be there answering everybody's questions to the very best of my ability. Guys, we're still in the primaries, so get out there. If you haven't registered to vote, get out there and get your absentee ballots. If you need an absentee ballot application, let me know. I'll be more than happy to print some out for you, bring it by your house. I'll throw it in your mailbox or attach it to your door, and so we can get those things done. Every vote counts. We can't make change unless you get out there and you get out there and you vote. So until the next video comes out, or I'll probably go Facebook Live here shortly, you all have a great Sunday. Stay safe, stay inside. If you're going to come outside, don't do what I just did, not wear my mask, but I'm not myself, so that's why I don't have my mask on. Make sure you're protected. God bless everybody. Love you all. Have a good one.